Good morning, good morning. It's Ty, the LinkedIn guy, and hope you're having a great day or evening wherever you are. Today, I wanted to come on and talk about authority building and a couple of things to avoid on LinkedIn that I see occur quite often with regards to someone's positioning. And it's usually out of a sense of trying to look humble or trying to position themselves as they're part of a bigger organization, especially if they're a solopreneur. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that later because that's a big one. I see a lot of people getting confused by trying to make themselves look bigger than they are or smaller than they are, and it just has it always has an opposite effect on conversions. So with authority, guys, as Robert Cialdini talks about authority, people respond well to authority. You put someone in a uniform, someone walks up to someone in a uniform, they're going to listen, right? We've been trained as a society to conform. It's just the way it is, from our teachers to our parents to your church groups to your youth organizations to your hobbies, whatever. There's always authority figures. And it's a real powerful influencer. And one of the best ways to use that on LinkedIn is, there's three ways that you can really show your authority, right? It's that hard evidence. Of course, that includes any kind of degrees and awards or publications, honors, presentations, the years of experience in your business, your portfolio of work. That's kind of direct evidence that you are an industry leader. Then there's the second type, which is really that circumstantial evidence, as they call it. And this was a great, these three, I didn't come up with this, is what I've read before in the past. But circumstantial evidence, this is a really powerful one in the social media world, and that is you being connected to key influencers in your market. Right? It can be really powerful if you're a membership of certain organizations. Right? If you work with kind of prestigious clients or businesses, if you can show that you have that. Now, this isn't direct proof that you have the authority, but people are going to assume that you have the authority based on your connections with that. So that's the circumstantial one, and I'll talk a little bit more about that because that can be very useful on LinkedIn. And then there's obviously, as I term it, demonstrative evidence, and that is, your writing, your ideas, the content that you post and put out there, the photographs, the graphics, the things that you use. Hey, Aaron, how are you? And this demonstrates your authority in action. Like, it shows this is what I do. Right. So there's a few things that you can do straight away with your LinkedIn. And I'll talk about the one I mentioned at the start, and that is kind of titling. See, what happens is I see a lot of solopreneurs and small business owners. They might call themselves like specialist, like a marketing specialist, or something consultant, or kind of a lower title, because they're hoping that someone might see them, that they're actually part of a larger organization, and therefore, although they are the owner, founder, president, CEO, whatever the title is, they don't want to use it because they think it's gonna make them look like, wow, they're just a small, dinky, one person shop. Well, the thing is, when you lower your title, you're making it harder for yourself to connect with higher ups. You're making it harder to connect with other business owners, founders, CEOs, presidents, because what you're doing is eliminating one of the really important principles of influence, and that is unity. And Cialdini talks about this in his latest book, and that is being a part of a group. It's kind of us and them. And when you're an owner of an organization, there's certain assumptions that you can make about other owners. It's tough. It's hard going out alone. The struggles of building a business. There's all these different elements that only you as a founder, only you as a president, only you as a company owner really know. And that is really powerful when you're reaching out to people, because you can use that in your outreach, in your messaging. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people want to come across as humble. Well, I'm part of this organization. I can tell you now, that the highest conversions that I see on LinkedIn when it's owner to owner discussions, or founder to founder. It is that unity that really can help build that connection, and it establishes your authority. So don't go with the idea of lowering your title because you don't want to be seen as a solopreneur or one man shop, one person shop. Go in there with the idea that you're going to use that as authority and as unity. It works tremendously well. I can tell you what, as a business owner, when you've got like a sales rep reaching out to you, as opposed to a company owner, it's a different feel, right? It's a different feeling. So be careful with that. Establish your authority and keep it there. With your profiles in particular on LinkedIn, guys, complete them. Absolutely complete every single part of the profile. Humans like completeness. And when you have produced a profile, and as I always talk about this, if you are using LinkedIn for business development, lead generation, for client acquisition, you've got to move away from this online resume. A resume is used for getting a job. You are using it for getting clients. So you've got to move away from the idea of having an online resume. When it's a client-facing page, then it becomes different. It becomes special, because this is where you're able to establish your authority. And I spoke about this a little bit yesterday, was by putting in that social proof into that profile as well. Putting in experience sections that are actually the case studies of success with clients. Putting in those quotes from clients in your experience sections, and using those experience sections differently. Making sure you're putting in media within those experience sections, making sure that your titles are right on point. And as I mentioned, make sure you use the right kind of title, but use the space available to put in the title the kind of problem that you solve. High impact keywords, phrases that show that you actually solve a problem that this ideal client avatar has. Now, when you have completeness in your profile, when you've done all that, the fact is, so many of your competitors out there, or so many of your ideal client avatars, they're not going to have filled out their profiles. They're not, certainly they're not going to have it as a client-facing page. They're going to have it as a resume. But more importantly, when you know all the little tricks and tips and how to get the fonts and how to change sizes of that, how to get the media right, when you have all those kind of things down pat, it instantly gives you authority, because people will look at it and like, how did they do that? Wow, where did they know that? Wow, that's interesting. Oh, I'd love to be able to do that. And they try to copy you and they can't, because they don't know the full tricks. Now, that completeness, that difference, again, it just establishes you. It demonstrates, there's that demonstrative evidence there that, wow, this person knows something that I don't know, right? Now, that doesn't necessarily lead to that you know everything about the offer that you have, but it just gives them that sense. Again, we're trying to stack, we're trying to give those little percentage wins, right? So someone comes and sees this profile and it looks different to theirs, it feels different to theirs, it's something that they can't replicate themselves. They try it and they're, oh, that's a good idea, I'd like to implement that, and they can't do it. That gives you that authority. Again, it just pushes people to accept. It pushes and makes people feel more comfortable with reaching out to you. Downtown Tokyo, I don't know if you can hear that. That's a cop going past. So make sure that you do that. Another issue I wanted to talk about was the use of influencers. What you should be doing is tracking your key influencers in your business. And as I mentioned before, that is really a part of that kind of second factor of authority, that circumstantial evidence. Find those key influencers in your market. Find those ones that are quite active in your market. If you're using Sales Navigator, it's awesome because you can save them as leads and you can track them easily. You can see their shares, their posts, everything about them when they appear in news, and you're able to be on them. You're able to put your comments there, be associated with them. And I teach them a certain method that gets about 86+% of the people that you I call it favor magic. You run this strategy on, they will start a dialogue with you, or they will send a message to you, or they will send a connection request to you. Any influencer. I don't mean the little I one, but major people in your industry that have impact with others in your industry. So make sure you're tracking that. Make sure that you're participating on the content that is surrounding the solution or the problems that you solve, right? And one of the best ways to do that is to go into LinkedIn and use the search for content. Now you can use it in advanced search on Sales Navigator. If you notice down the bottom left-hand side of the filter, there is a keyword searching capability where you can put all the filters. You could say, I want to find people in Los Angeles who are presidents of food-based companies and they have just posted content about the new FDA regulation. Like, you can get that granular on LinkedIn, right? And it'll pull up all the people that have posted that are a president, that are in Orange County, California, are in the food business and posted on the FDA regulator, and then who are active, who are actually in LinkedIn using it on a regular basis. And that's who you want to attach yourself to. And that's where you're going to put your comments, right? That's where you're going to state your opinion. You're going to, compliment whatever the routine that you develop. But that's a real quick way of being able to find the content which you specialize in, that you're able to give an opinion, and you're getting connected to certain influencers that are also writing about that content. You're seen like them. You're seen as them. And if you're constantly there and the people that are connected to them are your ideal client avatars in particular, they're going to see you. And you will notice that you'll get a massive uptake in inbound activity. You'll come up in more views. And it's doing it every day. And putting that into a workflow process is really important, right? And that's also a part of helping you build that authority, is to get consistent with your application of the strategies that you use. Every day, go in at certain times, because again, posting at certain times will aid in your content being seen, because you've got to remember that it's only going to be shown. It's got a short content on LinkedIn have a short shelf life. It's not like Facebook in many cases. They've got their own algorithm. It will get shown to you a select few of your first connections, and based on the likes and the comments, it will show it to more in your network, and then based on that, it will then serve it to those that are second kind of or third degree connections. So you've got to get visible within your own network for you to be able to go outside of your network. So going in at certain times when your avatars are most likely using the platform is also important, right? So think of that. When is your avatar using the platform? That's when you want to be, seen or be seen by them. Because if they're not there, they're not going to see it. It just moves. It just works like that. Okay, a couple questions. Aaron, my title is Telecom Expense Expert in the last name in the field. Would CEO and Telecom Expert. Yeah, I mean, you can founder, founder, telecom. I would have the founder or CEO or owner, and then the pipe is a good one, and then have the rest of your title there. Hi, Asma, how are you? Cool. All right. So anyway, there are some quick tips there for you on authority building. I hope that helps and gets you thinking about that. If you want more, if you want some, someone to hold your hand and take you step by step through the transformation of your LinkedIn, reach out to me. We can get on a call. We can talk about what's working with your LinkedIn, what's not working with your LinkedIn, and where you want to go with it. And if it makes sense, we can talk about how you can hire me to do that with you over the next 49 days and get you solved, get you done, over and done with. But please only reach out if you are absolutely committed and decisive about your business, about growing it. It's a large financial investment, but my mission is to get you a strategy that will see a return on that investment over and over and over again as you continue to use LinkedIn as your primary lead source. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll see you guys later. Bye.